All right, well, thank you for joining us for how to gain access to your EIDL loan to make those repayments. If you do have questions during the webinar, feel free to put those in the chat and I will be monitoring those. If you also want to raise your hand, we can also ask questions that way and have you talk if that works better, but we'll get to that later on. So a little bit about the Small Business Development Center. We provide confidential, no-cost advisory and low to no-cost training services, just like this webinar. So we are hosted by the Cal Poly Humboldt University. We are funded in part by the Small Business Administration as well as the state of California. And from those fundings, that's how we're able to provide our no-cost services for small businesses. So yeah, just a little bit about our team. These are a few of our amazing advisors, our local advisors. We also have access to other advisors throughout the Northern California region. So if you have any question about your business, definitely feel free to reach out about that. That's what we're here for. And then just a little bit about how we've helped our clients here the last couple of years. Obviously, help them achieve finding loans, have an increase in sales, new business starts, all that good stuff. So happy that we're here and available to help the business community here in the North State. All right, and yeah, we do serve Shasta and Trinity County specifically, but there are other SPDCs who serve other counties as well. So before we get too far into it, I do have to read this disclaimer. So the information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, or other professional advice specific to their situation. Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the Cal Poly Humboldt Sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. All right, and then, all right, so I'll hand it off to our presenter, Joe. So, all right, go ahead.
Thanks, Emily, very, very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, people, that's what happens when we get lawyers involved, right? We got to disclose stuff. The good news is today's webinar, I believe, is kind of important to all of us. Those of us who have received in the last 2.5 years any of the EIDL, economic disaster loan funds, which were the low interest rate loans, long-term. Well, guess what? The payments are about to start. And it's a real interesting way that you have to go about finding out what your balances are, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through the steps. Several of our clients and friends of mine in town have asked me the question, either at chamber or other events, even at the store. Hey, I got one of these disaster loans. How do I go online and find out what's going on? I haven't heard anything from SBA. And so anyway, so here's me, Joe Rodola. I've been presenting a lot of these classes over the last 7-8 years. I've been working here at SPDC. I've been teaching now for 20-some years, various financial literacy classes. I ran a small nonprofit certified credit counseling agency, consumer credit counseling service. Had my own business for 12 years. And again, I've been advising for SCED, Superior California Economic Development, and here for about the last 10 years. All right, so what are you here for? This is what it is. We're going to walk you through what's needed. Okay, so before you sit down at the computer and start getting frustrated, which I did as well, when trying to set up these this account with the SBA portal. We've all had experiences with the SBA portal from before, right? When we applied for these loans. Guess what? It's a whole different one. Great. So anyway, so we're going to walk through those steps. what websites to use to get to those portals, how to sign in and create the account. There are some tricks, and I'm going to be able to give you all the ones that I've found when we were setting up for several clients, what those little nuances are, and then how to make a payment or set up a payment plan. Technically, according to the last information that we received from SBA, your first payment is supposedly due. You can make payments, of course, at any time, but they're going to be due 30 months from the last distribution. So some people, to tell you the truth, some people have found out their first real due date isn't until like February, March of 24. That's the required payment date. You can start your payment anytime you want, though. You can set it up automatic, pick a date when you know you have income available to make the payment, have it come out of the checkbook, set it up on your QuickBooks or whatever you use to track, and you set it up anytime, okay? Remember, these loans do not have a prepayment penalty. The only thing is when the required payment date is due, that first payment, you gotta make sure you get the first one right? And they've been sitting there for months, in some cases years, just what I like to call percolating. Because remember, they've been charging interest at the federal government level and the SBA ever since they distributed the money to your checking account, okay? So technically, if it was a $10,000 loan, right now you owe more than that, right? 3.75% APR, annual percentage rate, on about 10 grand. That's about I don't know what it was. It came to about $1 a day. So anyway, you can look at these statements once we're done and you get into the portal and find out what you currently owe, and if you want to start the payments immediately or wait till the first due date. Okay, so what information do you need before you go online for this EIDL? Here's what you need. There's a difference between the SBA application number that you originally had when you went in to apply for these loans and your loan number. The loan number actually came with your finalized online signed documents that hopefully you printed, okay? If you did not print them, you could go back into the original portal, pull up your application page, and you can print out or find out what that loan number is. I'm sure you received emails when you first got the loan that would tell you on those emails what your loan number is, okay? You need the email address that you used on the application. So when you applied for this loan, hopefully your email address is the same as it was then, okay? You will need your social security number if you're a sole proprietorship, or if you had a separate tax ID number for a corporation or an LLC, you'll need that tax ID. Whichever you put into the original application, you'll need that. And be ready to create a new user ID form. And believe it or not, you will need to think up a 16-digit password. Crazy. Of all the passwords I think we're currently carrying, this is probably the most I've ever seen, is the number of digits you need in the password. Most passwords are a minimum of 8. This password has to be a minimum of 16. And if you use, star, percentage, $, ampersand, whatever those little symbols are that you use, you also have to check the list when you get to that drop-down section of setting up the code. Where's one of the tricks? Some of these symbols are not allowed. For instance, the pound sign, which normally I think sits above the number 3. The pound sign cannot be used as one of your digits. That's And it won't actually come out and say, it'll just say error password or something. And you're going, wait a minute, that's my password. I just set it up. What are you talking about? Well, there's certain symbols that are not allowed. Isn't that great? Why not make it hard? Okay. So where do you go to start the process? Here is the email address right here. Okay. www.sba.gov funding/programs loans make payment SBA. Okay. So go to the website. And what you'll be doing, hopefully you can see my cursor here. What you're going to be doing is following the steps for view loan balances and payment due dates. What'll end up happening is you're going to be setting up an account at what's called, I don't know if they pronounce it CAFS as the acronym, it's CAFS. Okay, CAFS. It's an acronym for something. I don't think I even read it, but it'll say here somewhere what a CAFS is. Anyway, it's a system that SBA has set up like if it was your checking account where you could go in and pull up a statement. Okay, that's what it's for, is being able to pull up a statement. Okay, pretty clever. It says here, existing borrowers, of course, you can set this up in your favorites. Once you get it set up, save it in your favorites of your browser, so you don't have to go back and forth, right? Like you do with your checking account, your credit cards, whatever. And then you can access it anytime you want, okay? So then you go ahead and start the process by managing your EIDL right here. It says manage your EIDL in this little blue section here. Or you can go down here and account enrollment instructions, use the CAFS account enrollment instructions to create an account. And that's what you'll be doing, is creating the ability for you to go into their tracking system to pull up your statement, your information, okay? So that you can find out when the due date is, how much you owe, how much interest they've charged you so far. It's all listed, okay? It's all listed. Pretty cool. Once you get in, it's a piece of cake. It's getting in that's tricky, all right? So, all right, so what you end up with is ending up at this page, SBA account login, okay? And this is where you start the process of creating the account, okay? So what you'll do is you'll say, not enrolled as of yet, you're not enrolled. So you hit the not enrolled at the first column under SBA account login. This will be what you'll go back to, though, every time you go on to the CAFS system from this point on, okay? So this is the save to your favorites page. That's what I suggest people do. Okay, my wife did. She has a small one of these EIDLs for her real estate business. Okay, so you're not enrolled yet. And when you hit that, it takes you to this page, okay? So this is where the trickiness begins. Put it that way. How fun is that? And anything with a red asterisk, like there's a red asterisk, see the little asterisk there? Anywhere there is a little red asterisk, you have to put something in that box. That's what it's telling you, okay? So user ID, pick something. You could use user IDs you've used before if you want. It's not a lot of restrictions on SBA user ID, but if you want to know, there's the little blue SBA user ID rules. When you get to that, you can hit that and it'll walk you through the rules, okay? Have to have so many digits, you know. I think you have to use alphabet and a number, whatever. So then there's the password. That was where it got tricky immediately. I started thinking, oh, you only needed 8 letters or numbers. Maybe you had to have a capital letter, you know, and then other letters, numbers, maybe a symbol, right? But when I went in there, finally, I hit that SBA password rules, That's where it came up to 16, minimum 16 digits. I thought, holy moly. So you have to write a book. You have to write a book on this password. So make sure you write that baby down, because it's probably not going to be like any other password you've got. Okay, it'll be different. Okay, because it's got 16 digits. And again, if you're using symbols, the star sign, the dollar sign, the percent sign as one of your symbols, make sure it's an allowable symbol. I can tell you right now that the pound sign above the 3, not allowed. Who knew? You didn't until you actually hit the numbers. So you put in the password twice, and that creates your password, okay? User type is this blue box, first blue box. You hit it and it'll give you a list, okay? And I think it's a borrower, okay? You won't be a bank. It's very easy to identify that you're a borrower, okay? You're borrowing the money. The first name and last name of the person who signed the loan documents on the original signing of your paperwork, okay? So if you're a corporation, it would be probably the president, whoever signed it up front. That's going to have to match. Okay, that's kind of interesting after 2 years, right? Some of you have had these for almost 2 years. You got to go back and check it and say, hey, who signed the thing? For sole proprietors, it's pretty easy. If you're still open and alive and your business is running, easy, it's you, right? So first name as it's written, like in my case, if I'm Joe, right? But on the documents, I would have had to put Joseph, my legal name. So make sure it's the legal name of what's on the loan. First and last. United States is fine. Put in your zip code of where the business is located, the zip code that you put on the application, and the street address you used for the application. Okay, should be your business address. If you use your home as your business headquarters, my wife does, second bedroom is her real estate headquarters. Use the house address, right? So whatever that is, city. Sometimes that city will autofill when you put in the zip code. It'll automatically put in Reading, okay? Now, right down at the bottom here, you'll notice that there's 3 phone numbers, 2 you have to put in. Landline phone number, mobile phone number. They'll probably, in many cases, be the same because we don't have a landline, okay? So you'll have to put in your cell phone twice. Fine, that's legal. But you see this first box that says country code? Make sure there's a 1 in there. Okay, I didn't realize that the 1, because a lot of times you call long distance, right? You put 1, the area code and the phone number. 1, I guess, stands for United States of America. That's what the country code is. So the 1s have to be in there. If you take them out, it'll say country code missing. And you're going, what code? So leave the 1 in there for the landline and the mobile. Go ahead, put your area code. Most of us 530, and then your phone number. Okay. So easy so far, but that's one of the tricks is that country code, the 16-digit password, and full names as it was shown on the application. It has to match your loan documents. So here's the bottom of that page. There's the area codes again we just talked about. The email address, you enter it twice. Okay, theoretically or hopefully it's the email address you used when you filled out the application. Okay, whatever email you use goes there. Then you have security question list. Okay, it shows 1 here, but you're going to end up having 3 questions. Once you put in a question, you're going to have another one will pop up and then a third one will pop up. Don't get scary. It's where were you born? You put your city there. What's your mother's maiden name? Whatever ones you want to use, go ahead and use and jot them down on your paperwork so that you know that your security questions that you picked were whatever it is you put in there. And there'll be 3 of them. Okay. Then you get this wonderful little box that, make sure you're not a robot, I guess. These are upper and lower case sensitive. So in this case, looking at this one, it would be a small f, capital G, the number 7, capital B, and an F lowercase. So you type that into the enter here and hit the submit. Okay. If something is missing or they don't like something, it will go to the top and show a little reason. Okay. We've seen that before when we signed up for stuff, right? You missed something. Don't be afraid. Okay. If it's country code, it's going to be these number 1s missing. By the way, you don't have to put the fax number in. You notice it's not highlighted. So that it asks for a fax number, but if you don't have one, don't put it in. So leave the fax number blank, but make sure the 1s are there. Make sure your password matches and you did 16 legal digits. Okay. Make sure your security questions are all answered, 3 of them, 3 choices, and then recheck your verification little list here with the little letters and numbers, symbols, right? Little f, capital G, 7, capital B, small case f. Make sure that's in the box and then resend. Okay. You have so many minutes to do that. If you do not successfully complete it within so many minutes, guess what it does? Kicks you out. Isn't that great? So that's why it's better to have all the stuff sitting in front of you when you start this process so you don't time out. Because time out would be a pain in the tush, wouldn't it? Yeah. So, and again, you're going to get this slide deck. Okay. So don't worry about it. If you have questions, you're going to have it right there. You can get a copy of this presentation. We're taping it. It'll be on our YouTube channel. So don't worry about that there. And last but not least, if you get stuck, guess what? You can sign up for our services here at SPDC and I can help you. I can help you walk through. I've done at least 2 people here at the office on my computer with the customer sitting there, and we did it together. All right. So I know it works. I know it works. And the reason we're bringing it up now is the first payments are probably coming due in December for some of the early EIDL loan recipients. So December is going to start the massacre. People are going to start getting emails going, oh my gosh, how do I do this? So we wanted to be ahead of the game by giving you the hints so you can try it yourself. If not, it's going to be the holidays. We're closed the last week of the month in December, and there won't be anybody here to help. See, so we want to be able to help you prior to this happening. And by going in, you'll find out when your due date is. All right, so hit the submit button. Okay. If there's an arrow, we show at the top of the page. Country code 1 on the phone number was the biggest offensive thing. It'll say country code error. Okay. And you go, country code error. What the heck is that? Normally it's because it's not in there. The 1 isn't in the box. Okay. 16-digit password and or phrase. Okay. And dual authentication. The majority of people that have processed this request have been asked to do dual authentication. Some of you may have already had this on other types of important websites, but basically you can choose a text to your phone. You can use an email to your email address where it'll give you a 6-digit code. It's called dual authentication to put in the box before it pulls up your statement. And again, they're trying to keep all of our personal data safe. It's hard. It's hard. I don't know how many of you have had problems with your credit cards or your ATM card where something's shown up on your account and you go, where the heck did that come from? You don't even know what happened, right? You bought something in Florida. No, you didn't. You weren't even in Florida. So, it happens all the time. The scammers and the ripoff artists are figuring out new ways to take our ID and take our information. So the dual authentication, yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the neck, but it's another layer of protection so that nobody else can see what we're about to see. So what do we see? There it is. A little small. Hopefully you have a bigger screen than I do. They probably should have enlarged this section. But let's go back. This is what your information sheet will show. Shows your loan number, loan status. For now, it's called dispersed current, unless you're behind on the payments. It'll show the originating due date, the originating date of the loan. It'll show the maturity date, 30 years into the future. Isn't that crazy? If you had a co-applicant, your co-obligation would be there. It'll show you your principal balance, how much you received. Okay. It'll show you the next number down is total undispersed. That normally would be zero. They probably do, you probably got all the money, right? If it shows more than that, you can find out where the rest of your money is, okay? Daily interest accrued. Like I said, I think this loan was for, was it 14,000, 16,000? I guess it was 16,000. This loan was 16,000 for this loan. And the daily interest accrued was $1.64 a day. $1.64 a day from when they got it. Interest rate 3.75000. Accrued interest to date. There's been $700 added and some change to it. Okay. Total amount of interest owed. And the payoff, if you wanted to pay it off, what the payoff would be at the time you pulled the record, and then the payoff balance. So in this case, if it was 16,000, it's now 16,910.07. Okay, they've added interest since the date you received the funds. Okay, and the bottom of the screen is installment due date. Okay, in this particular case, it, I believe, showed May 12th of 23. May 12th of 23 is the next due date. Okay, and the minimum payment amount is $82. Okay, so it tells you everything on this one page. Isn't that cool? Okay, it's a full statement. It's a full statement. All right. You can print it. Okay, send it to your printer, print it out, save it to your desktop, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. I like seeing stuff easily. So I would probably pull it and put it into a file, You can get a paper copy. Obviously, they don't want to do that. Adds to the expense, but you get the idea. Now, this is just to get the information on the balances and when your due dates are and how much the payments are. So unfortunately, this is not the page that you will go to set up your automatic payment. But at the bottom of this sheet, which I did not show here, is a little blue box that says, do you want to make a payment? Aha. So you press that blue box and it takes you to here. This is the pay.gov website. All right. And as you can see, this is a secure way to pay U.S. federal government agencies back. All right. And people often ask when they get to this page, my goodness, what do I have? So here's make a VA medical care copayment. If you're a veteran, make an SBA 1201 borrower payment. Repay Social Security if you got too much overpayment. I actually had that happen to me. I had to go to an audit to verify that it was okay, and they went ahead and let me not have to pay back the Social Security. Pay a former military or civilian employee debt. Apply for IRS 1023 easy. That's to apply for tax exemption, pay an overdue debt. Okay. So which one of these boxes do you use? It's the middle one. You're going to make an SBA 1201 borrower payment. So we're 1201 SBA borrowers that have these EIDL loans. Okay. So you hit there. Pay it, boom. You will need to set up the payment plan. Your loan number again, which you already had. Minimum payment amount you want to have deducted automatically. And by the way, automatic is the only way that they're going to allow this payment to be made. Okay. You can pay bulk payments along the way, but the minimum payment, the only way you can set it up is automatic. Your choice, anything above minimum, your choice. Due date of the payment, they'll have the due date on there, but let's say you wanted it, it says the due date's the 13th. You want it to come out on the 1st, just set it up for the 1st. As long as it's before the 13th, you're fine. Don't set it up for after the 13th because then you'll be late all the time, right? So whatever the due date is, pick a date that fits your pay schedule. Okay. And put that as the date. You'll need the bank account number for your bank account it's coming out of, normally a checking, right? Checking account number. And the ACH bank number. Okay. So I just happen to know because I have been a Bank of America person for my entire life of almost 70 years here coming up next year. 121000358. So that's Bank of America's ACH code. It's at the bottom of your checks to the left of your account number on the bottom of the check, which is the little magnetic code numbers on the bottom of the check. So your account number is the middle, and to the left will be your bank code number. Okay. 121000358 is Bank of America. Okay. Debit card or credit card, you can actually have it come out of that as well. Okay. Or you can set a payment up through PayPal. Suffice it to say, most people will set it up just coming out of that checkbook. Easiest way to do it. All the other automatics you have for everything else, your car, your house, whatever it is, most people are doing auto pay right now, right? So it's easy. You just set it up. They take it out on that day. Just make sure the money's in there. Okay. And here is that form to fill in the blanks. See? So you have required fields, borrower's name. So you put your full name there, your borrower address, the address of the loan and the bank account, city, right? If we're in Reading, it'd be Reading, California, and the zip code. SBA loan number goes there. Payment amount you pick, enter the full amount of your loan approval unless you are paying it off. So do not enter the full amount of your loan approval unless you're paying it off. So you want to put 50 or 60 or 90 or whatever it is you want to pay each month. Continue at the bottom. Okay. And it'll take you to the area to put your ACH in. It'll take you to the area to put your account number in. It'll say, is this a checking account? Yes or no, or it'll give you the other choices at the bottom of the page to put in your account numbers. Pretty simple. Okay. So that we did the introduction and overview, the information needed, websites to get to go do these things. There's 2 of them, right? Your 2 websites. First, you have to set up a CAFS account on the first website. And then you go to the pay.gov to set up your pay plan, your payment plan, okay? How do you sign in? Got choices there, of course, how to make a payment and how to ask questions. And here is an important phone number. This is the SBA contact number for existing loan clients. It's a toll-free 1-833-572-0502. It shows up on all the pages of your sign-in, you know, the CAFS, the 1201 payment website, shows up on all of them, okay? But that's the number. So if you have questions from the SBA, that's where to go. I can't look it up. SBDC does not have the ability to check those balances and things for you. You're the only one that can do it. Like I say, they are very concerned about keeping the accounts clean. Okay, definitely keeping the accounts safe. So 1-833-572-0502. Okay, did I miss anything? Do we have anything pending out there? Any thoughts, any questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat.
Be happy to try to answer any that might still be out there. And remember, we're here right downtown Reading. And I don't have any more vacation time except for Thanksgiving weekend till the week after Christmas. So if you need to come in and you're just having a heck of a time with your computer, trying to get this through, do not hesitate to sign up for services. Come in and see us. Be happy to guide you through it because it's frustrating. You know, you're trying to find, you know, you owe the thing, right? And most of us, all the sole proprietorships probably got under 25 grand, but it's like, oh my gosh, now I got to start making these payments. What was the payment amount I needed? Some of them are 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks. It's very low, but heck, it'd be embarrassing to miss the first one, wouldn't it? So this way you're on top of it. You can set it up as a pay plan and you'll know exactly when that first payment's due. Like when the person found out it was 23, May of 23, they said, just wait till next year. Things are tight, gas prices, food, you know, the inflation's bad. I'm just gonna let it ride. As long as I'm not late, that's cool. And that's what the guy that sat down on my desk did when we pulled the statement. We printed it out, he goes, it's not till like June of 23, I'm cool. But now he can get in, see, he can check it out. And he didn't have to sweat it anymore. And that's what's important is that, you know, we don't want to go into the holidays going, oh my gosh, I missed the first payment. These are other organizations in our community that are helpful to you.
Okay, before you get going too far, Joe, we do have some questions here.
Oh, good, they came in. Wonderful.
Yeah. So they're wanting to know, can you specify if payments are for interest only?
So the question is, can you do, are they interest only payments requested?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're principal plus interest. The reason they seem so small is because they're 30 years. That's the reason they're small. They're basically set up as if you were buying a house. Most house loans are set up at 15 or 30 years, right? So if you borrowed 10 grand, or in this case, $16,000, payment's 82 bucks a month. So you're going to own them for 30 years. A couple other questions that may pop up is this. I've had several clients, unfortunately, ask me this question because the business didn't survive. Okay. Do I still owe it if I close the business? Yeah, afraid so. I'm afraid so. These are government debts. So until, you know, who knows what they're going to do in the future, but as of today, EIDLs are not bankruptable. If you file bankruptcy, you still owe it. Just like IRS debt. You have to make a deal with the IRS directly. You'll have to make a deal with SBA directly if something happens. Now, that doesn't mean next year, when they finally figure out if they're going to go ahead and start forgiving student loans, which has been blocked again, who knows what the future will hold. But currently you cannot, even if the business closed, you're still going to owe it. But that's why the minimum payments are so small. They're principal and interest payments, but they're calculated at 30 years. Many people are setting up their payments. If this one was 82, I think this person decided they were going to pay 100 a month. That way it'll speed up the payoff, won't it? See, it won't last 30 years. They'll start paying more principal that way. Okay, but it is principal and interest payments.
All right, and then the next question, do you happen to know if there are any other symbols for that password that can't be used besides the pound key?
When you hit that little blue thing next to it, it'll show you which ones are not. I just remember the pound sign because it happened to be somebody wanted to pick it. So there may be others, but off the top of my head, I do not know. So that little blue question thing right next to the box, hit that and it'll walk you through. It'll tell you which ones are allowed and which ones are not. Okay. I just happen to know the pound one wasn't. So it's like, oh my gosh. This person used the pound in all their other codes, all their other 8-digit passwords. They put number 100 or number 66, with the pound thing. And it's like, what the heck do you mean? Problem with the code, and then we looked at the list and thought, oh, look at that. That one's not on the list. Anyway, but if you check that little blue box next to the password section there, it'll tell you which ones are not usable besides the pound. Anything else?
I think that's all the questions right now, but if any of you have additional questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll get to them in a second.
Cool. And again, these are the other organizations in our community and area that are helpful to you. Most of us in all these areas are don't charge anything. Pretty cool. Okay. And here's a bunch of links that are very helpful. All the chambers of commerces that are in the community, they are superb. Reading, Anderson, Shasta Lake, Cottonwoods reactivated theirs. There's a Bernie chamber that's fairly active up there on the hill. Weaverville, it's great. PTAC again is procurement. Those of you that are veterans want to become certified. And of course, our kind of cousin agency, Superior California Economic Development, have specialized localized loans that are available, micro loans, they call them. We don't have funds to lend at SPDC, but SCED does. And there's some links to the rest of it, SCORE, EDC, Smart Center, Women's Business Center. We have a fabulous Women's Business Center here. It's tremendous. And there's all our links. We are on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. And our YouTube channel, I'm very proud of, so is David, our boss, Emily and I and the other consultants have spent a lot of time taping and putting information into our YouTube channel. How to start a business class, how to affect your credit report, you name it, there's stuff on there. Marketing hints and how to use Facebook. I mean, there's all sorts of things on our YouTube channel. And that will be where this will eventually show up, is our YouTube channel. It looks like Emily put the link in there for our little how'd we do document. We appreciate feedback. This again was put together specifically because clients were asking for help. And anything else you want to have information on, ask. We'll see if it's worth putting together a class and get the information to you.
All right, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. So last chance to put something in the chat. Otherwise, we will wrap up a few minutes early here. And thanks again, Joe, for presenting today. It's very helpful.
Emily. Appreciate it. And thanks for you all coming and being a live audience. I appreciate that too. And again, we'll put that on our YouTube channel so that more people can check it out as well.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and end it. Everyone have a great day and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.